We are in the 10th book, the work of Tahara, purity, and we are now going into how to purify Tumas Tsaras, the Tuma, the impurity of Tsaras, which is a skin disease. And we're at chapter 11. Okay. Now the purification process of a person afflicted with Saras is a positive commandment. And shaving is also a positive commandment. All right, let's see. How is a person who is afflicted by Saras purified? Should bring a new earthenware container. Received tradition teaches it must be new. In other words, it's not written anywhere new, but that's the received tradition. Right. A fourth of a log of living waters that is fit to be sanctified as water for sprinkling the ashes of red heifer is placed in it. This measure is a rabbinic institution. Right? It's not biblical, in other words. It's a rabbinic law. To put this water, this amount, it's a small amount, might be like, I'm not certain exactly, might be like around a liter or something. 2 sparrows that are kosher must be brought for the sake of purifying Saras affliction. As the verse says, for the one who is purified will be taken, it says sparrows. He should slaughter the healthier one of the two over the water in the earthenware vessel and squeeze out the blood until it is apparent over the water. He then digs a hole and buries the slaughtered bird in the presence of the afflicted person. This is the one who's slaughtering, is not the afflicted person. This is one of the points received through the oral tradition. In other words, that's also not written in a verse, right? But it's received in the oral tradition, meaning it's from Mount Sinai. But most of the, most of the laws are written in Torah. The details are at least hinted to, and in this instance, not. He then takes a cedar branch. The mitzvah is that it be a cubit long. This is a cubit, arm's length, right? And a fourth, the thickness of a bedpost. And he takes a hyssop, whose name is not described by an additional term, as we explained, that is not less than a handbreadth long. This is an arm's length. This is a hand's width, handbreadth, right? And the crimson strand weighing a shekel of material. If one used the dye for another purpose, it is disqualified. As is the rule regarding dyeing wool with blue dye to use for tzitzis. All these measures were transmitted to Moses at Sinai. Again, this is not specifically said. That's a kohen takes the 3 items mentioned above together with a living fowl, right? Because there were 2 of them. All of these 4 items are fundamental requirements. When the cedar branch and the hyssop have been peeled, they are invalid. The hyssop should be bound together with the cedar branch with the crimson thread. Yeah.
Crimson, does that have anything to do with people wearing it around their wrist?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, not to my knowledge, at least. The tips of the wings and the tips of the tail of the living bird should be held close to them, and the four should be dipped in water in the container and the blood floating on top of it. Then sprinkles from them, from this water, 7 times on the back and the hand of the afflicted person, and sends away the fowl. On the back of the hand, 7 times you sprinkle from this water, and that fowl is sent away. How does he send the fowl away? He stands in the top in the town and casts it outside the wall. He does not turn its head to the sea, to the town, or to the desert. As I said, outside the city towards the field. If he sends it away and it returns, he should send it away again, even 100 times. Excuse me. Afterwards, the priest shaves the afflicted person. How does he shave him? He passes a razor over all of his skin that is visible, including the underarms, pubic region. The entire flesh is smooth like a squash. As the verse says, you shall shave all of his hair. If so, why does the verse mention his beard and eyebrows? Include anything like them, and to exclude the hair and the nose because they're not visible. Afterwards, he launders his garment, immerses himself, and becomes pure with regard to conveying impurity when he enters a building or to an article on which he lies or sits. He may enter within a town's wall. Hmm. Okay. He may enter the town's hall. He counts 7 days. During them, he is forbidden to engage in physical intimacy. Saluted in the verse outside the tent. This teaches us the forbidden physical intimacy. A woman afflicted by tsaras, by contrast, is permitted physical intimacy. Okay. Lacha number 2. For the duration of these 7 days, he is still considered a primary source of impurity and imparts impurity to people and to utensils when touching them, but not when being carried by them. Is indicated by the verse, he shall be on the 7th day, he shall launder his garments. This teaches that before then he imparted impurity to his garments, just as he imparted impurity to his garments by touching them, so too he imparted impurity to a person, but when touching him. For any source of impurity that imparts impurity to a garment imparts impurity to humans. On the 7th day, the Kohen shaves him a second time, like the first time he launders and immerses himself, thus becoming pure with regard to imparting impurities to others. He is like all those who immerse and become pure. Yeah, he is like those immersed and became pure in the evening. May partake of the second tithe. After nightfall, they can take of truma. Once he brings the atonement offering, he may partake of sacrificial foods, as we've explained. When he shaves these 2 times, he must shave only with a razor. If he shaves on a David, thank you. If he shaves with something other than a razor and left 2 hairs, his action has no consequence. Shaving should be performed only by a kohen. If after 2 hairs in the first shaving they shaved off, and the second shaving is considered to have performed only one shaving, the entire day is acceptable for a shaving of a person afflicted by tsaras. Okay. All right, folks, we're gonna end over here because the day is long and busy. Okay?
Excellent.